Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the sources you send us and really dig into them.
Yeah, and this time we've got some interesting stuff on Commander Peter Ariete.
That's right. Looks like we have some personal log excerpts, maybe.
Yeah.
And also the official update notes for Elite Dangerous Trailblazers.
Exactly. So it's a good mix. We get the first-hand player view alongside the big picture game mechanics.
So our mission today, for you listening, is figuring out what Commander Ariete's been doing and how this new Trailblazers update, well, how it all connects.
There are some really interesting things happening, and Ariete seems to be right in the thick of it.
Okay, so let's get into it. The Trailblazers update seems like the place to start. It sets the scene.
Absolutely. That update is pretty crucial context for Ariete's recent logs. The big headliner is system colonization.
Right. Players can actually claim and build up their own star systems now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal.
It really is. A huge shift from how things used to be, with the galaxy feeling more static. Now players get to drive the expansion.
So according to the update notes, how does someone, actually do that? How do you start a colony?
Well, the first step is finding a new colonization contact. They're in existing populated systems.
Okay.
Talking to them lets you stake a claim on an empty system. Then you have to pick one.
And the maps help with that, I gather. The galaxy and system maps?
Yeah, they've been updated. More info to help decide. You might want a system near known space, or maybe one rich in resources, Depends on your goals.
Makes sense. You wouldn't want to accidentally pick somewhere completely out of the way, unless that was the point, I guess. Ariete seems more proactive, though. What's next after choosing?
After you ping the system, you choose your main port, like an outpost or maybe a bigger Coriolis station.
It sets the tone for your new home base, then.
Pretty much. Then you've got 24 hours to pop down a colonization beacon in that system.
Ah, so like planting the flag, making it official.
Exactly. It tells everyone the spot is taken, or, well, being taken.
And what happens after the beacon goes down?
That signals for a colonization ship to arrive. These are huge ships, basically your mobile construction yard.
Right.
And then you need to start hauling supplies to it, construction materials, essentials, that kind of thing, to get that first port built.
The amount probably depends on whether you pick the small outpost or the big station.
You got it. It's an immediate logistics challenge right off the bat.
Okay, and this links directly to Commander Ariete's logs, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That first one about building something in. Ariete Sector ZKXB12. Quite the designation.
Yes, exactly. So the log entry from April 11th, 3311, says construction on a terminal there was at 40%.
Okay.
And it estimated about 10 days and 4 hours left.
Wow, okay. So a fair bit of work still needed.
And it lists the materials, too. CMM composite, 4236, steel, 6270, titanium, 2032.
Whoa. That's a lot of stuff. Really shows the scale of these projects. You wonder how much planning went into just gathering all that.
Definitely. It's a massive undertaking. But then there's another entry from the same day. Yeah, also April 11th. It just says, terminal construction complete.
Wait, really? From 40% to done in basically a day?
Seems like it. Suggests maybe a big push with resources, perhaps other players chipping in. A squadron effort, maybe?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Shows the power of players working together. That community aspect is huge in Elite.
Totally. And the logs mention another building project too, right? In HIP 67203.
Yeah, something about renaming a site.
Right. April 13th, the Weisstown construction site got renamed Murlasky Landing. Progress there was 32% at the time of the log.
So Ariete is involved in multiple projects. Busy commander.
Seems that way. And it's cool because we're seeing these Trailblazers mechanics playing out directly. It's not just patch notes, it's players actually changing the galaxy.
Yeah, from picking the spot to hauling the goods and seeing that progress bar tick up. Ariete's logs give us a great ground level view. But it's not all peaceful construction, is it? The logs mention some action too.
Definitely not. Shifting gears to combat. April 12th, there's an entry about an experiment that didn't quite pan out in the Dhan System.
Oh. What was the experiment?
Trying to use a Type-10 defender as an autonomous laser buoy in a resource site.
Ah, setting up a kind of automated turret ship to farm bounties. Clever idea, potentially.
That seems to be the thinking. Park a heavily armed ship, let it shoot pirates, collect credits passively.
But you said it didn't pan out.
Nope. The log says the ship, the buoy, got destroyed, only after earning about 8 million credits in bounties.
Ouch. So, not worth the risk, maybe.
Well, the log mentions thinking about improving the build or maybe trying it in an easier, lower-threat resource site. So learning from it, adapting, still raises questions about how viable those auto-turret ideas are.
Right. Good theory, tricky execution. But Dhan saw more action that same day, didn't it? More direct action.
It did. Another entry, still April 12th, reports a big spike in pirate activity there, especially around the icy rings.
Uh-oh.
So the local faction, the Dhan Empire League, put out a call for help, asking pilots to come clear them out.
And they offered rewards.
Yep. If you registered at Kid Station first, an engineered warrant scanner, those nice Empire livery paint jobs for the Clipper and Cutter.
Ooh, nice.
Hmm.
Especially for Empire-aligned pilots. And credits, too, I assume.
And credits, yeah. Seems Commander Ariete answered the call, along with a couple of others, Commanders Leo Bolero and Mako Valbel.
One effort, then.
Looks like it. The log says after about 2 hours of, quote, intensive hunting, they went back to Kid Station with millions in bounties.
Much better than the buoy experiment.
Definitely more profitable and probably more exciting. Shows players responding to these dynamic events the game throws up.
Absolutely. Sometimes you just need pilots in the cockpit. And speaking of working together, there was mining, too.
That's right. April 14th. Ariat teamed up with CMDR Mako Valbel again, this time for mining in Dhan's icy rings.
Different ships this time.
Yeah. Ariete was in a Type-10, big cargo hold, obviously, and Mako Valbel was in a Chieftain.
The classic setup. Big hauler for the rocks, nimbler ship for defense, or maybe helping crack asteroids.
Seems like it. The Chieftain providing escort, maybe prospecting too. Good combo.
Did they mention anything else about it?
They mentioned testing out some 3A repair limpids. Said they weren't the best, but they helped keep the Chieftain topped up.
Handy. How did the haul go?
Pretty well. Over 30 million credits in minerals, plus another 15 million in bounties they picked up along the way. All brought back to Kid Station.
Nice. Really shows how working together pays off, whether it's building, fighting, or mining.
Exactly. Different ships, different roles, common goal. Now, the Trailblazers notes also mentioned something new for the economy, about refining.
Oh, yeah.
A new refinery contact is available now in refinery markets and industrial settlements. Lets you refine raw stuff you mine.
Into what?
Well, they specifically added a new mineral, hematite, found in rocky asteroids.
Oh.
And you can take that to these contacts and refine it into steel.
Steel. Like the stuff Ariete needed thousands of units of for that terminal.
Precisely. So potentially, players could mine hematite and make their own steel for construction. Adds a layer to the supply chain.
More self-sufficiency for these colony projects. That's clever. And are there long-term economic perks to having your own system?
Yes, the notes say you get regular income based on how developed the system is, how many facilities you build.
Passive income, nice.
And if you get 10 or more facilities built, you also get discounts on ships and outfitting in your own system.
Well, that's a solid incentive. Build up your base, get cheaper ships and gear, creates your own little economic hub.
Exactly, your own corner of the galaxy with real benefits.
The update also added new station types, didn't it? Asteroid stations.
Yeah, 2 new visual variants, ice asteroid stations and metallic asteroid stations.
And how do you get those?
You build a starport in a planetary ring or an asteroid cluster. The game automatically picks the station type based on whether it's mostly ice or rock metal asteroids there.
Well, that's neat. Makes the station blend in more with its environment, add some nice visual flavor.
Definitely. And speaking of flavor, you can customize names now too.
That's right. Using ARX, the premium currency, you can name your settlements and stations whatever you want.
Adds that personal touch, doesn't it? Name it after your squadron or whatever you like.
Yeah, makes it feel more like your place. The update also touched on factions, how they fit into these new colonies.
Ah, yes, that's interesting. The notes say the third faction to appear in a new colony system will be aligned with the squadron of the person who founded it, the system architect.
The third faction. Why the third?
Good question. Maybe the first 2 are automatically generated based on nearby powers or system type, but the key thing is that third one is linked to the player squadron.
So it's a way for player groups, squadrons, to spread their influence, their BGS faction.
Exactly. A direct mechanism for squadrons to expand their footprint in the background simulation. The whole political metagame.
So players aren't just building stations, they're building political influence too. That's quite a bit of player power.
It really is. Now, important note, the update docs say system colonization launched in beta initially.
Okay, so what does beta mean in this context? Is progress wiped?
No, they stated progress is intended to be persistent, but beta means they're watching closely, gathering feedback. They might still tweak things, resource costs, travel times, balance stuff based on how players use it.
So while Ariate's progress is real, the exact rules might shift a little.
Potentially, yeah. It's a living system they're refining.
Good to know. The notes also mentioned a new ship, the Mandalay, for Odyssey owners.
They did. Ariat's logs don't mention flying one, but it's part of the overall update package. Another tool for commanders out there.
Right. And beside the big stuff, Trailblazers included a lot of bug fixes and smaller updates too.
Oh yeah, a whole list. Fixes for loot spawning, limpets acting weird, some power play glitches, VR display issues, even specific tweaks for the Cobra MKV ship.
The usual quality of life stuff that goes into a big patch.
Exactly. It all adds up to a smoother experience for everyone, including commanders like Ariete doing all this new stuff.
So looking back, this Trailblazers update is huge. Not just one feature, but a whole suite of changes reshaping the game.
Definitely.
And Commander Ariete's logs, they really give us that snapshot, don't they? From the ambition of starting a colony, the hard work of building it, facing down pirates, working with others, it brings those update notes to life.
It really does. We saw, just through these snippets, someone engaging with almost all these new systems in a short time. Building, fighting, mining, cooperating. It shows how dynamic the game is, how player-driven it's becoming.
So, thinking bigger picture now. With players able to colonize systems on this scale, but still facing dangers like pirates, what's the long-term impact going to be?
That's the million-credit question, isn't it?
Yeah. What kind of mark will commanders like Ariete leave? What new stories, new conflicts, maybe new alliances will pop up because of this? It feels like players are really writing the next chapter now.
It really does. You could see new power blocks forming, based purely on player colonies, maybe new trade routes between player systems, or, yeah, conflicts over resources or territory. The galaxy just got a lot more dynamic, unpredictable even.
Its fate really feels like it's in the hands of the players now, more than ever.
A fascinating time to be in the black.
Absolutely. Well, this has been really illuminating. Thanks for breaking it all down.
My pleasure.
And a big thank you to you, our listener, for sending in these sources. If you find anything else you think warrants a deep dive, definitely send it our way.
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
Until next time, fly safe out there.